Scientists were stunned by what a CT scan revealed inside an Egyptian pharaoh's mummy. Hey, have you ever wondered what would happen if a set of human remains buried underground for 850,000 years forced scientists to rewrite the history of human evolution? What could make a 2,600-year-old mummy suddenly reveal that its owner had been brutally murdered with an axe, even though that secret had remained buried for thousands of years? And why was an ancient warrior laid to rest alongside treasures of gold and silver, a prized warhorse, and a ceremonial wreath of power, as if death were merely the beginning of a new journey? Hello everyone, and welcome back to Ancient History, where we uncover the forgotten chapters of the past, explore civilizations long lost to time, and investigate the mysteries that modern science is still struggling to solve. You know, every time an archaeologist's shovel breaks the ground, they're not just hoping to uncover a few valuable artifacts. Sometimes, what they discover is an entire story, capable of changing everything humanity once believed to be true. It could be a mummy whose hair has remained perfectly preserved for nearly 2,000 years, skeletal remains displaying the features of a previously unknown human species, or a richly furnished tomb filled with priceless treasures that raises far more questions than answers. In today's journey, we're going to explore some of the most astonishing archaeological discoveries that have shaken the scientific world. Every artifact, every skeleton, and every tomb is like another missing piece of history, revealing part of the truth while concealing countless other secrets. And who knows, by the time you've finished watching this video, you may find yourself asking a question of your own. Is the history we know really the whole story? Or are there still enormous secrets lying silently beneath the earth waiting for the day they're finally brought to light? So, are you ready? If you are, let's get started. The skeleton of a man, crushed by a massive boulder during a catastrophic volcanic eruption 2,000 years ago. Imagine this. One day, archaeologists uncover a skeleton trapped beneath a massive boulder weighing nearly 660 pounds. The skull is nowhere to be found. What would you assume happened to this man? Like most people, your first thought would probably be that the boulder fell on him, crushing him to death instantly. But in this case, the truth turned out to be very different. After months of research, scientists uncovered evidence that completely overturned that initial conclusion. The story has since become one of the most astonishing archaeological mysteries ever discovered in the ancient Italian city of Pompeii. It all began in late May 2018, when photographs of a victim of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, excavated at the Pompeii Archaeological Park in southern Italy, spread across newspapers and social media around the world. The images sent chills down the spines of millions. There lay a skeleton pinned beneath an enormous stone, yet the skull was completely missing. Archaeologists quickly nicknamed the victim Masonry Man, or the man beneath the boulder. At first glance, the explanation seemed obvious. The excavation team believed the man had been trying to escape when Mount Vesuvius erupted in AD 79, the catastrophic disaster that destroyed Pompeii, Herculaneum, and several nearby settlements within a matter of hours. As he fled for his life, a boulder weighing roughly 660 pounds may have been hurled through the air by the tremendous force of the eruption, striking him with such incredible power that his head was separated from the rest of his body. That theory quickly spread through newspapers around the world, and many believed the mystery had finally been solved. But as you've probably guessed by now, archaeology is full of surprises. As researchers expanded the excavation and carefully examined the layers of soil beneath the skeleton, they uncovered a discovery that completely shattered the original theory. The man's skull was eventually found completely intact. Even more puzzling, it was located in a lower layer of soil than the rest of the skeleton. The Pompeii Archaeological Park later announced the discovery, acknowledging that it marked a major turning point in the investigation. So why was the skull separated from the body? After studying the site's geology, archaeologists arrived at a logical explanation. During the 19th century, numerous tunnels were dug throughout Pompeii in search of valuable artifacts. Those excavations disturbed the ground, causing portions of the soil to collapse over time. Researchers believe that this shifting earth likely caused the victim's skull to slide into a lower layer of soil, creating the mysterious scene archaeologists uncovered centuries later. Even more importantly, when experts carefully examined the skull, they found no signs of fractures or severe impact damage. If the enormous boulder had actually crushed the man's head, the skull would almost certainly have been shattered. Instead, it was remarkably well preserved. That single piece of evidence proved that the boulder was not the direct cause of his death. So what ultimately killed this unfortunate man? According to the latest findings from researchers at the Pompeii Archaeological Park, he most likely died from a pyroclastic flow, a fast-moving avalanche of superheated gas, volcanic ash, and toxic fumes racing down the slopes of Mount Vesuvius at tremendous speed. This was also the deadly force responsible for killing thousands of people in Pompeii, Herculaneum, and neighboring towns during the eruption in AD 79. Contrary to popular belief, most victims did not die from molten lava. Instead, they suffocated from toxic gases, dense clouds of ash, or were instantly killed by the extreme heat of the pyroclastic flow, which was capable of burning and killing within seconds. Even today, researchers have not yet completed a detailed anthropological analysis of the skeleton. That means the story of the man beneath the boulder is far from over. Could this skeleton still reveal new clues about the victim's final moments, or about the catastrophic eruption that buried an entire civilization? The Egyptian pharaoh's mummy revealed a horrifying death that hid the truth for over 3,000 years. My friends, have you ever imagined that a mummy lying silently inside its coffin for more than 3,000 years could speak more powerfully than any historical record ever written? Even more chilling is the fact that the truth it revealed turned out to be completely different from what people had believed for centuries. If you've never thought about that before, then today, let's travel back to ancient Egypt, where a pharaoh named Seqenenre-Ta II remained shrouded in mystery for more than 3 millennia, until modern CT scanning technology, on February 17, 2021, unexpectedly uncovered the horrifying truth hidden inside his coffin. But to truly understand the magnitude of this discovery, we need to go back to the moment his mummy was first found. In 1886, archaeologists discovered the mummy of Pharaoh Seqenenre-Ta II in the ancient city of Thebes, now part of Luxor, Egypt. As soon as they opened the coffin, they immediately noticed something unusual. The body was in terrible condition. It emitted a strong, foul odor. Many of the bones had become disarticulated, and there were clear signs suggesting that the mummification process had been carried out hastily. At the time, however, scientific technology was still limited. Researchers could only examine the mummy externally and propose that the pharaoh might have died in battle or been assassinated during an internal coup. The mystery then remained unsolved for more than a century. It wasn't until 2021, when scientists performed a modern CT scan on the mummy, that the full story finally came to light. The three-dimensional analysis from multiple angles left researchers stunned. The pharaoh's skull contained numerous severe injuries, revealing that he had suffered an exceptionally violent death. Most notably, there was a deep slash across his forehead measuring approximately 2.8 inches, likely inflicted by an axe or a sword. That wound alone would have been enough to cause instant death. But that wasn't all. Just above his right eye was another sharp wound, measuring about 1.3 inches, also determined to have been caused by a bladed weapon. Additional injuries were found on his nose, right cheek, and around his eye socket, indicating that he had been attacked repeatedly from multiple directions. Even more horrifying, the left side of his skull contained a deep puncture wound measuring about 1.4 inches. Researchers believe it was inflicted by a spear or another long weapon thrust upward from below, possibly penetrating a vital region of the brain. This was almost certainly the fatal blow. After piecing together all of the evidence, scientists proposed a shocking theory. Seqenenre-Ta II did not simply die on the battlefield. Instead, he may have been surrounded, captured, and brutally executed. One particularly chilling detail made the story even more disturbing. The mummy's arms were found tightly flexed, showing no signs of defensive wounds or attempts to protect himself. This has led many experts to suspect that he may have been bound before he was killed. Modern archaeologists also discovered evidence that the ancient Egyptians had carefully stitched some of the wounds on his skull before the mummification process began. This suggests that his body was not embalmed in haste. Instead, there was a deliberate effort to restore the king's appearance after his death. Even more remarkably, his dried brain had shifted to one side of the skull, indicating that his body may have remained lying on its side after death or during transportation to the embalming site. So, what really happened to this pharaoh? According to historical records, Seqenenre-Ta II ruled southern Egypt around 1558 BC, during a time when northern Egypt was occupied by the Hyksos, who had come from the Levant. Their occupation plunged Egypt into a long and bloody war. An ancient legend even claims that the conflict began over what seemed to be a trivial matter. The Hyksos king allegedly complained about the noise made by hippopotamuses in a sacred lake at Thebes. From this seemingly absurd dispute came an order to destroy the sacred lake, an act that was regarded as the final straw that ignited the war. During that conflict, Seqenenre-Ta II is believed to have personally led his forces against the Hyksos. In the end, he fell in battle, or perhaps after being captured, leaving behind a mysterious death that remained unsolved for thousands of years. Yet Egypt's story did not end with his tragedy. After his death, his wife, Ahotep I, assumed the role of regent and continued the resistance against the Hyksos. Their son, Ahmose I, eventually defeated the Hyksos completely, reunified Egypt, and ushered in the New Kingdom, the most glorious era in the nation's history. And so, from what seemed to be nothing more than a silent mummy, modern technology has allowed us to hear a story filled with bloodshed, war, and tragedy, a story that had remained buried for more than 3,000 years. The tunnel beneath the pyramid reveals the mystery of the Maya serpent god. Around the early 16th century, Spanish invaders discovered the Kukulkan Temple at the Chichen Itza archaeological site in Mexico. This pyramid, once owned by the ancient Maya, hides unsolved mysteries. Recently, yet another mystery at Kukulkan was uncovered. Experts have discovered a secret tunnel inside the pyramid, believed to lead to an underground water cave known as a cenote, where the Maya performed live human sacrifices. With this discovery, archaeologists believe that the mystery of Maya religious beliefs will soon be revealed, as the Maya knew of this underground cave but never had access to it. Specifically, experts from the Great Mayan Aquifer Project, led by archaeologist Guillermo de Anda, used the latest imaging technology. They employed ground-penetrating radar, sending electromagnetic signals through the thick walls and structures within the pyramid and mapping the entire site using the feedback signals. As a result, they found a passage leading to a smaller burial chamber called the ossuary. Although the path is currently sealed, the Kukulkan pyramid was built between 900 and 1100 AD, making it a millennium-old monument. The name Kukulkan actually refers to the Maya god, depicted as a giant feathered serpent. Kukulkan grew in a cave and would appear with an earthquake. In 2015, scientists discovered a massive sinkhole beneath the temple. At that time, they feared that this sinkhole could lead water upwards, as there is an underground river below, which might cause the entire pyramid structure to collapse. This underground cenote is believed to be connected to other sinkholes to the north, west, and east of the pyramid. The sinkhole directly beneath the pyramid measures around 82 to 115 feet in diameter and is 66 feet deep. The mysterious body in the blood coffin of Inner Mongolia, China, that made archaeologists scream and order an emergency evacuation. Do you think that just one wrong moment could turn an archaeological site into a deadly danger zone? You probably wouldn't believe that, right? Most people assume archaeology is only about the past, something safe, something already buried in history. But if you really think that, then unfortunately, you are mistaken. Why do I say that? Because a story that took place in 2003 at a mining area in Inner Mongolia, China, proved exactly the opposite. There, a dark red coffin was unexpectedly discovered, and no one could have imagined that behind it lay a mystery serious enough to make the entire archaeological team shout a warning. Danger! Retreat immediately! Everything began when local workers, during mining operations, accidentally struck several stone slabs engraved with strange symbols. Sensing that this was not ordinary material, they immediately reported it to the authorities. Not long after, an archaeological team was sent to the mining site in Inner Mongolia, China. At first, no one thought this place was connected to any major historical dynasty, but after careful examination, experts began to recognize the structure of the tomb as clearly belonging to the Liao dynasty, a regime founded by the Khitan people that once had a major influence in Chinese history. Then, as they dug deeper underground, a scene that left everyone frozen in shock appeared. In the cold darkness of the burial chamber stood a dark red coffin. That red color was unlike anything natural. It was so deep and intense that under excavation lights it looked like blood. Because of this, researchers gave it a chilling name, the blood coffin. The coffin was decorated with golden phoenix patterns, both majestic and mysterious, in a way that was difficult to explain. But what truly drew attention was not only the coffin itself, but the body inside. It was a female corpse, carefully covered across the face. From the burial style, decorative patterns, and tomb layout, archaeologists believed she was very likely a woman of high noble status within the Liao royal family. However, the real mystery only began when deeper examinations were conducted. During the initial analysis phase, the team used X-ray scanning on the body. On the screen, multiple black spots of different sizes suddenly appeared, with no clear pattern. This immediately created a tense atmosphere. Then came the decisive moment. One team member carefully lifted the cloth covering the woman's face. Instantly, an unknown liquid suddenly began to flow out from inside the coffin. For a few seconds, no one reacted, but a sense of danger quickly spread across the site. One expert suspected it could be mercury, a highly toxic substance that can be extremely dangerous if inhaled or exposed under unsafe conditions. Immediately, an emergency order was issued. Danger, evacuate immediately. The entire archaeological team quickly withdrew from the coffin area, leaving the site to specialized hazardous materials personnel following strict safety procedures. Fortunately, thanks to the fast response, no one was injured. But the presence of mercury raised a series of major questions. Where did it come from, and why was it inside the coffin? At first, there was a theory that the woman might have ingested mercury to end her own life. However, later analyses quickly rejected this idea. When the mercury was accounted for, the black spots on the X-ray images also disappeared, showing that they were not physical objects in the body, but rather imaging artifacts related to the mercury. More importantly, tests showed that the mercury concentration in her hair was twice as high as in the abdominal area, something completely inconsistent with a suicide hypothesis. If she had truly ingested it, the highest concentration should have been in the stomach area. From this, experts proposed a new interpretation. Mercury may have been used as a preservation method to slow down decomposition. In many ancient burial practices, especially among the nobility, mercury was indeed used for similar purposes. So who exactly was the woman in the blood coffin? Based on historical comparisons, many researchers believe she may have been the younger sister of Yelu Abaoji, the founding emperor of the Liao dynasty. According to historical records, after the emperor's death, the burial process was delayed, and mercury may have been used to preserve the body during that time. If this theory is correct, then the tomb in Inner Mongolia is not only the resting place of a noble woman, but also a reflection of a hidden political tragedy behind imperial power. This woman is believed to have had a husband who was executed for treason, and she herself was also implicated, leading to an unfortunate and unresolved fate. However, it is important to note that all of this remains only a hypothesis proposed by researchers. To this day, no conclusive evidence has been found, and because of that, this mystery remains unsolved even now. The 1,000-year-old wall. You've probably heard of the Silk Road, a crossroads between East and West where ancient civilizations once met, traded, and exchanged cultures. Recently, archaeologists made a remarkable discovery along this historic trade route, a special remnant from the legendary kingdom of Lolan. Located in what is now the northeastern part of the Lop Desert in Xinjiang, northwestern China, this ancient site is slowly revealing its secrets through meticulous excavations. According to experts from the Xinjiang Institute of Archaeology, the newly uncovered fortress wall is circular in shape, with a diameter of up to 984 feet. Although only ruins remain, the foundation of the wall is still clearly visible, measuring between 7.2 and 8.9 feet wide. The remaining sections of the wall stand as high as 8.2 feet, offering a vivid glimpse into the scale and strength of this once imposing structure. These walls are not merely remnants of an ancient civilization. They are powerful evidence of the Lulin Kingdom's prosperity. Strategically located along the Silk Road, Lulin played a vital role in intercontinental trade and cultural exchange. What's especially noteworthy is that archaeologists didn't just uncover the fortress ruins, they also discovered a wealth of valuable artifacts in nearby tombs. These include wooden plates, bronze mirrors, wooden combs, and textiles, precious items that offer valuable insights into the daily life and culture of the Lulan people. Through carbon dating, archaeologists have estimated that this area dates back to the late Eastern Han Dynasty, 25 to 220 AD, a critical period in Chinese history. Historical records indicate that the Kingdom of Lulan emerged around the 2nd century BCE, gaining prominence as a major transit hub on the Silk Road. However, due to its harsh geography, surrounded by desert, and various challenges such as water scarcity and warfare, Lulan was forced to relocate its capital several times. In 108 BCE, the Han Dynasty defeated Lulan and turned it into a vassal state, effectively making it a puppet kingdom under Han control. Eventually, Lulan vanished entirely during the Tang Dynasty. The ruins of Lulan first gained attention in 1900 when Swedish explorer Sven Hedin discovered them. His findings fascinated not only archaeologists but also history enthusiasts around the world. Back then, Hedin found a square-shaped wall about 35 miles away from the newly discovered circular one, indicating that much of Lulan's legacy is still buried beneath the sands, waiting to be unearthed. Future excavations are expected to reveal even more significant discoveries. These digs have received strong support from the Chinese government, with dedicated funding allocated to advance archaeological research. Items such as Han Dynasty coins, tools, and textiles bearing Greco-Roman designs have opened new perspectives on cultural interactions between major civilizations of the ancient world. Once an essential node on the Silk Road, the Kingdom of Lulan has left behind invaluable traces of a glorious era. From fortress ruins to precious artifacts, every discovery reinforces the idea that Lulan was not just a trading post, but a far-reaching civilization with a profound legacy. And who knows? Perhaps in the near future, new discoveries buried in the desert sands will help us better understand a forgotten chapter of history.